Hi guys, welcome to MJ Hobby Corner. Please excuse the hat. My hair is really long now. It's all over the place. I didn't feel like dealing with it, so I have my little safety cap on. So I do apologize, but hopefully that'll get taken care of soon. So for today, while we wait for a couple of games that are going to be uploaded to the channel, today, Friday, we will be filming the Age of Fantasy game. It's going to be a small game, not very big armies. So it's Age of Fantasy Skirmish, and the game that the community voted for this week. So we're going to start filming that today, and hopefully I'll have it up by sometime Monday, either Sunday or Monday, depending on how the editing goes, okay? And then I'm also playing a solo game of Deep Wars, and that will hopefully, I think I'm going to film the final part to that tomorrow, Saturday, and then that'll be up sometime very early next week, probably Tuesday or so, because I want to edit both games and then get our Age of Fantasy game up first, and then get my Deep Wars solo game. I think that's going to be a really interesting game. Even if you're not into Deep Wars, come check it out. There's a lot of scratch-built terrain, a lot of cool stuff going on, so check it out anyway. All right, so for today, I want to make a video while we wait for those games to get set up and uploaded. I have a couple of unboxings, and I've been thinking about doing a video series that goes with my MJ Spotlight and with Julie's new What's the Fluff series, okay? And basically on my channel, I don't talk a lot about miniatures. Now, I have a very large miniature collection, and yes, my channel is a lot about scratch building and making my own little models and everything. Proxy models, right? Using everyday materials and just using stuff that I get at the dollar store or whatever, right? But it will be nice to actually have a video series that just concentrates on miniatures, because really miniatures, they're what keep us in this hobby, right? Miniatures are a very important part of our games. Assembling those miniatures, painting those miniatures, right? And I have been getting a lot of painting done lately, and now I'm working on my 28 millimeter pile of shame. I've been working on my 15 millimeter pile of shame, and also on my 172 scale miniatures, getting them painted up so that they're not just in a corner somewhere in a box, you know, after I do an unboxing, and then what, right? So we do have to think about that. As a collector myself, I have to think about that whenever I purchase my minis. Well, how much time are these going to take? Will I be able to get them painted and on the tabletop? Because we want them on the tabletop. We don't want them in boxes in the studio. We want them developing their careers in our various war games. Okay, so for today I have a couple of unboxings, but I also want to talk a little bit about the miniatures, my experience with them in terms of assembly, and I want to show the models assembled. Now, some of these minis are minis that I've already unboxed, so we won't go through an unboxing with them really, but I want to assemble a few and then just talk about them a little bit. We have Mantic Games Kings of War Salamander Regiment, okay? And we have the Tekken Starter Box, which I will be unboxing because it's in its plastic. And this was part of a special that I took advantage of from Miniature Market. Very good company. I've had very good experience with them. They don't mess around. They get your stuff mailed pretty quickly. At least that's been my experience, okay? That's been my experience only, but I do like them. And they had a bunch of Wrath of Kings things that they wanted to, that they put on clearance last year. This was before December, like around November is when I got this, early November of last year. And so they've been in the studio, and I said, you know, we got to get them out and start assembling them. Give a little bit of my input on these, and we will be using them in Wrath of Kings. We still play Wrath of Kings here, even though it's a dead game, unfortunately. And also use them in other games. So we're going to discuss, well, what other games could we use these on, okay? And obviously, you guys can also leave in the comments what you would use these miniatures in other games, right? What kinds of games you would use them for. These Wrath of Kings minis, they were ridiculous prices. I'm talking about $5 a box, you know, just ridiculous prices. So I bought a couple, and I have a couple that I have to unbox and then get to it and get them assembled and painted, okay? So we're going to see those. We're going to see Kings of War, Mantic Games, Salamander Regiment. I really like Mantic Games, and I like Kings of War models for many reasons, okay? And then we're also going to unbox Amazons. Yes, by Alliance, 172 scale female warriors. So Julie's going to be really interested in these. So we'll do these first and then move on. All right. So we're putting the first miniatures on the spotlight will be the Dark Alliance Amazon set. Okay. And this is set number 1. Let's get to it. All right. So here are the Amazons. And again, these are by Dark Alliance. Alliance, really. There's like Light Alliance and then Dark Alliance. I guess they're different factions, right? Like evil factions, like the Orcs. I didn't think Amazons would actually be evil, but whatever. They could be whatever you want them to be, really. That's the way I see it. All right, so you're getting 4 sprues, I'm sorry. Okay, so we're getting 4 sprues, a total of, and I'm reading this from the box, a total of 40 figures and 10 poses. So each of these sprues has 10 figures. We see that that is correct. So 40 models, all your variation, all your poses is in one sprue. So we're gonna look at this. Okay, so you will notice with a lot of these Alliance models, you have very thick sprues, okay? So these will have to be cut, and then, you know, you have to trim the base and everything else. And I'm going to talk about what I use for bases in just a second. Let's look at the poses. So here are 5 different poses, okay? We have we also have different weapons, which is very cool. We have 2 spear ladies. Different poses each. We have a sword lady here, and she could be like a sergeant or some kind of leader. She kind of has that look to her. And then we have 2 bow women, different poses. Okay. Looking at the other side, it looks like more like a javelin or maybe a spear, throwing spear. We see a little bit of flash here, so there's going to have to be some cleaning. Actually, quite a bit of flash there. This looks to me almost like a staff. Okay, let's look at that a little bit further. Okay, so she could be some kind of a witch or shaman or something. We have a bow woman, another bow woman, and another bow woman. So a lot of ranged poses here. I really like this one. I like that pose. I like that running pose. Very cool. So you're going to get 4 replicas of each of these poses, all right? And regardless of the weapons, that I mean, if I want, even if this was a spear, if I want to make her into a shaman and make this into a staff, there's no reason why not to, okay? But looking at the details, pretty good details. And I often look at the faces because that's where some of the details sometimes lack. I mean, I haven't really had a problem with any of these 172 scale. They've been very good, okay? Not bad detail on the faces, and I'm trying not to move them very much. Not bad detail on the faces, on the bodies as well, okay? Not bad, not bad. But there is some cleanup to do here. Yeah, she definitely is kind of like a leader. She would be more of a leader, you know, something like that. I mean, look at the fancy headgear there. She could also be a shaman if I wanted to make her into a shaman. But there's some cool helmets there. Okay. All right, so not bad, but there is, as you guys can see, there is cleaning to do in this box. And some of the Alliance figures have a lot of cleaning to do, and some of them, are a little bit cleaner. These are not too bad. So I'll have to do a lot of cleaning here to get that spear a little bit more, cleaned up and so forth. So a little bit of flash, you will have to deal with a little bit of flash. I like the color, the base color that they use. Sometimes you get them in red or green. I really like that they use this kind of tan. Very good. Weapons are flexible, which is good. Okay, this way they don't snap off on you. So pretty good. All right. So that's it. And then these are the different variations. So let's clip a couple and I'm going to base a couple since we're putting those on the spotlight. So one of the cool things that I like about using these bingo chips, I get 500 of these for like $6 or something. But one of the things I really like is that I can cut them and turn them into squares if I want to. So if I'm going to use these miniatures in a, one of these trays, regiment trays, I can just cut it up. I file it up a little bit. And you notice that this plastic does not crack. So it's very cool. I can cut it into squares and use them as squares, or I can simply use it as, just round bases. And they're nice and low to the table. So it's excellent. This is what I use for my 172 infantry bases. Okay. And yeah, that's it. So then now I use either Uncle Adam's method of baking soda and glue, or I believe it's baking powder. I'll have to re-verify that, but I'll use that for texturing the base, or I use my Vallejo mud paste, which is actually very, very fine and works very well on these minis. So here they are. Here's a few of them based so we can see them. Okay. I really love this woman running with the bow. Very cool. So, all right. So just so that we get an idea of how they look on their bases away from the sprues. Okay. So there we go. All right. So I have some work to do, and I use my X-Acto knife to get this cleaned up. My sharpest X-Acto knife, and this one's actually getting a little bit dull, but we definitely have to clean up that base because you're going to get those knobby ends from the thick sprues, okay? But not bad all in all. So Julie was thinking of using these as like wild elves, in an army, a female army, or use them as a sort of tribal human society and then add some dinosaurs to it, right? For like Dragon Rampant. And all pretty cool ideas, I'm sure, and the dinosaur idea would definitely bring some conversions to the channel, because I would work on some dino toys to add as units for these gals, if she wanted to go that route. So all right, so two very simple ideas for games for uses in this 172 scale. But there are tons of uses for these girls, I'm sure. Now let's move on to Mantic Games, and these are the salamanders. This is a salamander regiment for forces of nature. And I'm huge on lizard men or reptilian humanoids and all that. So I bought these guys specifically because I wanted to bring more variation into my lizardmen armies. I usually play that they are a conglomerate of tribes that have come together. So it's nice to have like all the different lizardmen figures and then, make different units out of them and have an army that's very different. So it's not all the same kind of lizardmen. Actually, it's lizardmen from many different tribes, all right? And I use Mantic Games minis. I also use Reaper minis and a few others like the old Warhammer, not Warhammer Fantasy, but actually Age of Sigmar. I use some of the Seraphon as well. So for this kit, you have two different sprues. All these contain all your arms and weapons and things like that. And then you have these little baggies. And these little baggies will have like your bodies, and some of the weapons as well. So this is the way Mantic usually boxes the stuff. So I got 3 of these little baggies. Some of these are already open, and I have all these little body parts. Okay, and I emptied out one of the baggies. Let's just look at this body part. And as always, very nice detail. I really do like these salamanders. And I like to paint mine in almost like an orange tint to it, to the skin, or reddish. So that's the body there. Not bad. So here on the one sprue, we have all the heads. Okay, very nice looking reptilian heads. Okay, very cool. We have different kinds of heads here. And then we have the weapons and stuff. So let's put a couple of them together and just see them built. Okay, so these are the parts that I'm going to be using for this one. It's a double-handed weapon. I'll be very honest with you guys. I have a phobia of double-handed weapons. I just hate putting them together, but it is what it is. I mean, it will look cool once it's on. So I kind of just looked around the sprue and then cut a couple of these two-handed weapon arms to see which one fits best. And this is the one that fits well with that. So I'm going to use that. And then for the other one, I'm just going to do like a sword guy. And that's it, for this video. I'm going to be putting up the whole box together. But for now, and I really like that weapon. So, all right, let's see what happens. All right, now these models are very chunky, and I'm not complaining about that. I like them like that, actually. They're very much like the Seraphon. They're just a little bit chunkier even. I'm going to bring a Seraphon model and see my fingers. I've been having problems holding things lately. But, okay, so, and then, of course, he's going to go on his base, and we're going to choose a nice head for him, and that'll be the first figure. All right, so now he's kind of looking to the side, and I love models that where you have the different pieces, that you can really kind of customize the poses and things like that. I remember all the old Warhammer Fantasy and stuff, how they used to come with all those pieces, and I really like that. And sometimes you don't get that in some kits, right? But you definitely do in these kits, so I do like that. All right, so there he is. Nice, big, chunky lizard man. So one thing I want to say about those models is that they do have a good surface area. You could see the surface area there for glue. So there's a lot of surface area to put glue so that you can put your arms together without a problem. There's a nice concavity there for the head, and the head has a nice little ball joint that fits in there. So there's a lot of surface area for glue, and that's obviously very good. I chose a one-handed weapon because I realized the sword I was showing is actually a two-handed weapon. So all right, let's finish up the arm and finish him up. Okay, and so now I put the head of my choice, and this piece here is pretty bulky, so you do have some posability. You can move the arm back more. I kind of moved it up forward a little bit, but it can definitely be back a little more. You can move this arm up and have the weapon more erect. So it does have posability options, despite the fact that the figure is very, very chunky. Okay. They're good. I really do like these. I like the price. And you do get quite a few salamanders for what you're paying for. So very cool. And I'm thinking about doing a sort of a lizard man civil war where different tribes of lizardmen are going to be at war with each other, and use the variety of lizardmen figures that I have for that purpose. So these will definitely be just another lizardman tribe and have like some skirmishes between them, some kind of civil war. That's one idea. They will also go to Julie's Forces of Nature armies because Julie likes to have forces of nature. So there you go, guys. Two salamanders. They're looking good, looking good from Mantic Games. I am a fan of Mantic Games, of many of their minis. So there we go. Okay, guys, so this is the Wrath of Kings figures. This is the Technus starter box, okay? And I don't want this video to get too long, so let's get to the unboxing. The way they CMON used to package their minis, they were always in these little plastic baggies. So you get a big bag, and from the big bag you got a ton of little bags. And so you're not really getting sprues. They've already been removed from the sprues, and then now you have like this mess of minis. Cool, I love it. So basically, this is how they come. Now, putting them together, you do have some things that you will have to clean out. And I'm not sure how available these miniatures are anymore because they're really fading away from, you can probably get them on eBay and all that. See, there is a little sprue there that has to be clipped, okay? So since I grabbed this one, let's look at this one. And then I'll put some of the others together, but I may not show that in this video. Maybe I'll just do another video and, put these together in that video. The real idea behind these videos just to show the miniatures together. These are not how-to videos or anything like that. They're just to kind of show what you get and how they look when they're put together. So this is the weapon. This is the weapon arm. And every figure, of course, every little baggie has one figure. And then the bases are separate. Now the bases come in this baggie. And then, of course, you get your stat cards as well. Okay, so I want to end this video very soon. So here is the miniature, okay? And I used some epoxy sculpt to sculpt some like rock work down there. These miniatures come with little tabs on their feet, and so you can drill with a Dremel. You can drill, or even one of those little hand drills. You can drill the base and then put your little tabs in there if you want to do it that way. I usually just use the tab as a little anchor, and I put some whatever it is, green stuff, whatever it is, and I just sculpt a few rocks, and then here I fill it with some sand or whatever. But these were really nice miniatures, and one of the things that I really want to show, these miniatures go together very well with little tabs and things. It makes it a little different for conversions if you were going to convert these minis, but this was very good because you could I don't have any glue on this model and it's holding together, right? So by the time when I do glue it, these models usually stay together very, very well. I have a ton of Wrath of Kings miniatures, and we'll talk about them in the future. All right, so this is the one model, and she's looking pretty cool. She's some kind of steampunk lady. So yeah, we'll talk about this in the next video, what kinds of games we could use them in. All right, folks, well, that's it. I don't want this video to be too long. These videos will generally not be too long. they'll be about the time frame that my Spotlight, MJ Spotlight videos take. All right, so I will be connecting all these videos together. So this way we'll have a series for miniatures on the Spotlight. We'll have my rules on the Spotlight, the MJ Game Spotlights, and then Julie's videos, which will talk about fluff. This way we'll cover all areas of, you know, miniature gaming, and we'll find ways of just putting cards in the videos so you can kind of link these videos together, right? And go to the different episodes as we talk about them. So that's it for today. Next video, I will talk about these Wrath of Kings miniatures, and we'll take it from there. Most videos will probably concentrate on one miniatures line or whatever in my collection. So it could be Reaper miniatures, it could be anything that I have in my collection, and we'll just talk minis, geek out a little bit. So if you have any of these minis in your collection, definitely you can point it out in the comments. Let me know what your experience was, and anything like that. Definitely, if you want to have a friendly discussion about minis, put it in the comments, and we'll talk a little bit. If you have any questions or whatever, or anything you want me to cover in future videos about the minis, let me know. That will definitely help. All right, folks, enough talking. That was my geek video for today. So I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll talk miniatures in the future very soon.